がここにいるうちの本物のスクールスポーツのために行こうぜベイビーバンとの服には気をつけて、現実になることがありますからね。
Alright, so I'm really thrilled and pleased to get to this video because I was reviewing some of my content and I'm really trying to make it a point to be the #1 American channel when it comes to covering Japanese boxing. So when I say I cover Japanese boxing, I mean Japanese boxing. I don't just mean Inoue or Junto Nakatani. I have to cover all the Japanese world champions. I have to cover all the relevant Japanese fighters, right? So in reviewing my content, I noticed that I hadn't really talked much at all about Shokichi Iwata, which I thought was very, very disappointing because Shokichi Iwata is a world champion. He's a known fighter if you follow Japanese boxing. And, you know, so I wrote down that I wanted to change that. I wanted to start covering Shokichi Iwata's career. And funny enough, the day right after I put this in my notes, Gervonta Davis tweets Shokichi Iwata. Shokichi Iwata was in the gym. You know, he don't got no fights scheduled right now. There's nothing formally announced. He's just staying sharp, staying in the gym, doing what fighters do. You know, keeping the blade sharp for when the phone call does come. You know, you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You know, and he's working on the pads and he's working on probing and with the jab and mixing his distance from outside to inside and turning his opponent, turning the guy on the pads, punching for different ranges, placing his punches, just the real subtle things that make world champions world champions. And I guess Tank saw something he liked and he gave him some props. He said, and I quote, "That looks good, fam, keep going." And I think it's a big deal because Gervonta Davis is one of the biggest names in boxing. He's one of the most important fighters in boxing, and for him to show love to not just a Japanese fighter, but like Shokichi Iwata, to me is a big deal. It shows you that boxing is growing in Japan. He's not just showing love just in a way. He's seeing the skills of Shokichi Iwata in that moment, and he's co-signing his skills. And you know, he's probably looking at some things that Iwata's doing with the placing of his punches, with the way he's turning, because they got some like Tank and Iwata. They have some similarities in tendencies in their style. Tank is a very athletic fighter who likes to come forward, counter punch. He mixes things up very well, and he's able to make opponents fight when they don't want to, right? But he's really a very fundamentally sound front foot dominant fighter at his best. Front foot dominant fighter, but he can counter punch. Iwata, very much the same. So I think he's seeing things there, and maybe he's gonna use some things that he sees in this clip in the Lamont Roach fight. We'll see. But this is the perfect segue to talk about Shokichi Iwata and give him some shine because he deserves it. He's one of the 9 world champions currently from Japan. So let's talk about Shokichi Iwata. 14-1, 11 knockouts, WBO light flyweight champion. You know, very, very interesting career because Shokichi Iwata, he was a very decorated amateur. He had a record of 59-12 with 16 knockouts in the amateurs. And for those of you in America that don't know about this, and I'll have to do a separate video of this on its own, but college boxing, like university boxing, is very popular in Japan. Like it's a popular way to enter the pros because a lot of these Japanese fighters like Ryota Murata, like Shokichi Iwata, Kosai Tanaka, and many others, they while they box as an amateur, they box for their school, for the university. So like Shokichi Iwata boxed for Waseda University, which is a very popular university here, and he had a very decorated career. He beat guys like Kosai Tanaka in the amateurs. He beat guys like Takuma Inoue in the amateurs. So he was a prize commodity when he turned pro. He was so valued that Mr. Honda, Akihiro Honda, Mr. Honda of the illustrious Tekken Promotions signed him. And he also signed with All-Star Boxing, which is kind of funny because All-Star Boxing is a Latin American company. You know, I know about All-Star Boxing and Tutu Sabala because they do a lot of work in Miami, where I'm from in South Florida. So very interesting. He signed with them. He actually made his American debut in 2018 Hasn't fought in America since. But this is a guy in Iwata who I feel like the way he moves and the way he looks like he's been influenced by some American fighters. He said in an article before he turned pro that he wanted to be the Mayweather of Japan. You know, so he loves Floyd. There's pictures of him and Floyd on his Instagram. You know, he's expressed and worn Gervonta Davis t-shirts and pictures on his Instagram, and now Davis is giving him credit. So yeah, man, you know, definitely a good look for him. You know, definitely a guy that seems to be clued in more on American boxing than most fighters. So he might be a good guy for me to talk to out there. So Shokichi Iwata, Tekken Promotions, let's make it happen. But yeah, he's gotten some great sparring over the years. He sparred Jesse Bam Rodriguez, who's a fellow Tekken Promotions fighter. Whenever Bam Rodriguez is in Japan, that's where he's at. So they spar each other. I'm sure it's good work. I'm sure it's very good sparring. He's also sparred, you know, one of my favorite fighters in boxing, the amazing boy Kenshiro Taraji. They've gotten in work. So really interesting fighter. You know, his one loss came in 2022. I watched this fight because I was live for it. It was pretty sure it was on the undercard one of Inoue's fights. He fought Jonathan Gonzalez, and Jonathan Gonzalez actually upset Shokichi Iwata. That was supposed to be the crowning moment for Shokichi Iwata. He was supposed to beat Jonathan Gonzalez and become champion that night. It didn't happen for him. Gonzalez made some good adjustments in the second half and wound up outboxing him. But you know what? I don't judge fighters off a loss. I judge how they respond to a loss. And Shokichi Iwata has responded in immense fashion with 5 wins since that loss, all by knockout, to become world champion again. So he is one of the 9 current Japanese fighters flying the flag high for boxing in Japan that's a world champion right now. And on top of that, Iwata, you know, when you look at his style, he's a quick twitch, come forward fighter, and he doesn't fight like some of these Japanese fighters. They fight very by the book. I feel like he's got more of a free-flowing style. He's a little more athletic. So you'll see punches from Iwata that come from more like unconventional angles. You know, he's not just like the textbook 1-2 down the middle Japanese fighter, you know, left hook. No, he'll throw punches he'll throw an uppercut from way down here. He'll loop the right hand. I think his style, it allows for more creativity and free-flowing attacks. So I think that's what makes him an interesting fighter. He's at light flyer right now, so the biggest fight he could probably make in his career, I would say, is maybe... I would say Masamichi Ibuki comes to mind. That's a big fight here in Japan, and Ibuki's a dangerous puncher. But yeah, I would say Ibuki, or maybe like Kenshiro Taraji if he decides to move up and weight and do a fight with him. I think Ibuki and Kenshiro, those are probably the 2 biggest fights for him around his weight classes. But he's definitely a fighter to watch, and I want to make it more effort to cover him and all of the champions and top fighters from Japan. So yeah, Shokichi Iwata. Tank Davis has taken notes of his skills, and shout out to him. So yeah, leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you could love me or you could hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you click right over here.